The translator for this chapter actually commented on the live adaptation of Gintama, as well as the Bleach's ending in 5 chapters. And consider this, life is great. I couldn't agree more. Chapter 594 picks up where the last chapter left off in Usuro flashback, as well as continuation to the main storyline in the present time, where it actually segued to the most likely the final arc of the entire series. How is this chapter? Overall, this chapter was great. It makes me very convinced that this arc can be the arc that, even though a lot of people are familiar with the formula of war arc in the Shonen Jump magazine, I think this one would do its justice, and I think a lot of people should not worry too much about it. In fact, this chapter had a really creative way to have this grand scale of a war that I'm actually really anticipated to see how it all brings down. It doesn't feel as forced as one would say from like the other series, where the villain would just come and declare war for whatever reason, even though they have no real arsenal, and then later on would make you question. In this chapter, it's actually like a collateral damage way, and it worked. It has a target to say who is to blame for this cause of mayhem, and Usuro is very clever in making that way to make people hate a Tendo shoe. Rightfully so. I never liked these guys, and I was happy for them to get their comeuppance, especially the fact that they're getting it from their own people, Usuro. And Usuro, he has been demonstrating the character of real bad villain with a moral sense of him just wanting to die. And what I like about this character, especially in this chapter, is the fact that not only he is consistent to his own self, but the fact that he actually managed to find the perfect way getting killed off. And the way to do it is to have the grand scale of a war on Earth and have Earth gets destroyed, the Atana rectified by everybody from the universe. And that way, not only Tendo shit will go down, but so will Usuro along with it. And that would be one way to do it, because he is too strong, and not only too strong, but he's just immortal. What is the way to take it down himself? It is to have a grand scale of war, or more like that is the only option, or one of the option. It has the vibe of, if I have to make a war, so be it. And I like this. I really like Usuro as a villain. The villain like this, it really intrigues me. It really interests me. Even with this flashback, where we already know who he is, especially how he becomes Usuro. I mean, like, it's not like he become Usuro first time, but he's completely now officially Usuro. He had one chance to change that view, being Yoshida Shoyo, as a good guy, as a guy who wants to be a teacher, as a guy who wants to learn samurai, as well as teach to be how to be a samurai. And when that all fell apart, he might as well just go, you know what, screw it, I will just be the bad guy, and I will just kill as many as I can, and hopefully I will die at some point. And now in this chapter, he managed to make a clever way to use his power and share that power with Tendo Show, which explains why these guys are interested of Usuro and why they kept him alive, rather than try to leave him in a cage and just have him being suffering for the rest of his life. Instead, they are interested in that blood, and they are pretty much semi-immortal, which makes sense as well, seeing how Tendo Show wants everything to be in power, wants everything to maintain control from among themselves. However, now that Usuro has cleverly found his way to get everything done in his way, the story is that Tendo Show has the seal, a key seal on their hand, which actually explains why nobody cannot do anything to the Atana, which is why everybody in Earth has to suffer all the time with that Atana being just there. It explains a lot, and it's amazing that this series has managed to put more in depth in the terminal base that's been around since the beginning of the series. And of course, the series doesn't really talk about too much of it, but you get tidbits, some parts and ways. You always hear something about like this terminal is the key for a lot of things. This gates, the dragon gates, the open gates, everything about it, especially what that has to do with Satomaru, which I do believe that does hint that there will be more coming for that character. Again, what the clever thing they did is that the seal is very intact. The seal is pretty much the second heart, or a heart that's changed to that thing, as in that if you destroy the arm, the user of that seal will be killed, or if the user is dead, then the seal will be destroyed. And obviously there's just no way to try to take control of the terminal, and Usoda find a way because he's immortal. So ripping the arm off, it doesn't consider dead, it only considered as something still alive, like of his own, kind of like what we just saw from the battle when he went against Umobozo, which actually makes a lot more sense, and it's actually a nice tidbit detail to understand why his plan worked, and it's very smart. It's astounding that it's so smart in this series that is full of parody, and now seeing Usoda manage to cause a galactic warfare, to have everybody put a blame on Tendosho, because that terminal means a lot, and they're the one that brought it up to every outside of the planets, those Amato people. And now the terminal is being destroyed. The one that was survived will spread the word and to say that Tendosho is to be blamed. We should go to Earth and destroy that main terminal. And that's where this new war arc comes in. And it's a collateral damage that actually, I don't even think we see that much. And I like the fact that we are going to have diverse of enemies, a lot of different ways of combat, and a lot of ways to have all the characters to come together and have one grand scale of a war. Because what Usoda has done, Usoda will do anything to get himself killed off. And the whole thing that he was in that planet earlier in the arc was distraction. So everything, it makes sense. It makes sense why he took over the Hasume, why he has done this since the beginning, why he is motivated to do this. It just makes him a crazy villain in some form of way. He would go that far just to have his satisfaction. Not the satisfaction for like, everybody's dying, I'm happy. It's more like, well, if I die and they all die with me, that would be great. That is conniving, and I like it. I really like Usoda. I'm glad he will be the final villain, and it will make him more stronger and more emotional connection with Gintoki and the rest, just to see how they're going to defeat him without resorting to destroying the entire Earth. It's going to be some crazy warfare. I think we should be okay with Sorochi taking care of the war arc, because I know a lot of people are not familiar with that, but I think he can handle it well. I'm going to say this chapter is a great chapter. I know a lot of people are a little bit worried about this war arc, especially being a final arc. You know, war arc means final arc, and it does seem like that is always the case. But I feel like I could believe in Sorochi, and I could explain a lot of things. And we have seen so many battles. All the battles has contained very, very less of idiocy, and that's just weird, because this is coming from a parody. So I believe that Sorochi can do this. I believe that he really can make the war arc great again. And I'm not trying to say out of that because I don't want to be associated to that guy. But my point is, I think he can do it. I think he can really pull it off, especially with the content of the fighting, the way how the series work, and with the character. We truly care. These characters are so wonderful. We don't want them to die, and we'd be scared to see them die or anything. It could be a little trip on the rock. We'd be scaring our mind off. Guys, what do you think about this next arc? Do you think this next arc will really blow you away? Are you really afraid that the war arc will not deliver just because how a lot of shonen series doesn't really work out for you? Can you trust Sorochi to pull out the grand finale with an epic bang? Thank you so much for watching this video. I have a Tumblr account. I would appreciate if you follow me at Tumblr, where I can discuss more in depth of this chapter, or just drop a comment below and we could have a good talk about this next upcoming final arc. So guys, thank you so much again. If you like this and you want more of this, subscribe to my channel, and my world is yours to stay. Until next time, see ya.